Welcome to Spoiler Alert. I'm Dr. Darin Detwiler,
I'm Callin Godson-Green.
and we are here in
Chicago.
for the National Restaurant Association. It is quite an event. I mean, there's so much stuff going on outside, but what is going on inside?
Everything.
Everything.
And more.
I mean, there's technology I've never heard of,
Yeah.
and some I don't even know what you're supposed to do with it. Biggest of names, small names I've never heard of,
Brands,
brands,
flyers, vendors,
foods,
everything.
samples,
Well, most importantly, I would say.
and guests. And guests. We're here with Richelle Toriyama. Welcome, Richelle.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you.
How's your experience here going so far?
It's been wonderful. I've eaten a lot, seen a lot of different friends that I haven't seen in ages. I mean, even you, even though we live so close to each other back in Southern California. And
Yeah, disclosure. We actually live, what, 15 miles away from each other kind of a thing?
15 minutes.
15, oh, even better. Yeah, well, that's a big difference in California.
Yeah.
15 miles, 15 minutes is a big difference. You know, we've had so many conversations talking about everything from startups and different expansions and different food safety needs, but you've got a wealth of experience in different areas. For those who are watching this and have no idea who you are or why we're talking to you, what's your background? What do you do?
So yeah, it goes back really to my high school days. So I started as a server in Reno, Nevada. I worked in a sushi restaurant. Go figure, I'm in food safety now. But yeah, I started as a server. And then when I went to college, I studied nutritional science, but also at the same time, I was a waitress there as well in Arizona. After that, I got a job with SteriTech. So I did third-party food safety audits and operational excellence audits for about 7.5 years. I was lucky enough to get to do a lot of North America. So I was in Canada, Mexico, Hawaii, and then the West Coast of the US. While I was there, I did go back to school. I was just trying to see what else, what other knowledge I could get. So I did my MBA and I got a job with Denny's and I oversaw brand protection and regulatory compliance for them for the West Coast and International. So very similar territory to what I had at SteriTech. That was one of the best experiences of my life. The team that I had in our food safety department is truly the most remarkable, talented individuals I've ever met. And they really shaped not only me professionally, but who I am today personally. And I'm forever grateful for Janice, Marianne, James. And so I just wanted to say thank you to them and to give them a shout out. And then I worked in food safety tech and now I'm on my own. So I am focused now on the Toriyama Group, which is a food safety consultancy, providing training, audits, and then just also like fractional work or high level oversight to the food safety program to really just help make sure that their brands are safer and more efficient and, deliver to the guests a great guest experience and keep them safe. And that's just really important.
Brilliant.
That's awesome. Are you hearing this more often? The fractional leadership, fractional work kind of stuff?
100%.
I think that there's so many companies, big and small, that are really prioritizing. We need to acknowledge the value of having this wealth of experience, partner with us, because if we want to go from A to B, we have to think more in terms of our resources and our expertise.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of brands right now that are emerging. The trends are changing too, and what consumers want to eat in terms of diet. So there's a lot of, well, and I'm in California, so maybe I'm in my bubble, but there's a lot of healthy chains that are like starting and they're emerging and they maybe have 10 restaurants and next thing you know, they're 25 and they're growing so rapidly. They're onto their 80th restaurant and they're like, oh, wait, we don't have a food safety department. We need to get that. And I'm so fortunate that the people that I've talked to have really seen the value in that.
Yeah.
They want to have safe food for their guests. They want to provide that incredible guest experience. They know that they shouldn't even be opening their doors until they can, make sure the food's safe and do your line checks and make sure the refrigeration's holding temp and summer's coming up. So, that's when refrigeration starts to go down. And there's just a ton of things that, we really, I think also the consumer is far more aware now.
Yeah.
So they want to know that where they're choosing to eat, they're getting one value for what they're paying for, but also that they know that they're not at risk and their family's not at risk. And I think that's one of the best parts of what we do is that we're able to let people like really feel warm and comforted knowing that they're safe to the restaurants that we service.
What's amazing when you look at like social media and how many people will be, I'm looking for this, I'm going to be in town, I'm looking for this. People contact me, hey, where's a safe place to eat sometimes, right? But I'll see messages where it's like, I'm going to be in Long Beach, I'm looking for gluten-free falafel. And I'm like, okay,
Very specific.
that's very specific. But someone says, you need to go to this place off of Maple or whatever, they all sell you. It's like, wow, it's really cool. And we've had this conversation before, how companies are not just like, we're going to bring on this new menu item or add this new ingredient. No, we're going to flex and make sure that we have a gluten-free option. We have a keto option, or all these different healthy options. And California is definitely one of those places where
Yeah.
there's what's on the menu, and then there's the what the customer really wants. And if there's that disconnect, that could be really bad for a restaurant.
Totally. And I mean, I will say this, I'm just a foodie at heart. Like since I was a child. I mean, I have the story of when I was growing up, my mom like gave me my first bite of salmon. I was a baby and like my face lit up. So I like truly, really love food.
That's how you know.
Yeah. I'm a big eater. And so yeah, anybody coming to Long Beach, I definitely have some great food recommendations. Not only safe, but really delicious. And we've gone out to eat a couple times and we enjoy the dining experience together. And I think it's just really something that's like part of life that's super enjoyable. And I I just love food so much. Like this industry, I almost am selfish in a way that like I need it to survive and thrive because I personally need my hobby to exist, which is eating out. And I just want to know every time like I'm working with people that really care. And I think that that's what majority of people do want. Everybody wants to do the right thing. They want to serve safe food and they want to make the guests happy. And it's exciting that we get to be a part of it. I never thought I would be in food safety. It's not like a role that I grew up saying like, one day I think I'm gonna go be a third party food safety auditor and then just continue my career. But it's been extremely rewarding and it's let me to like evolve and meet people in ways I hadn't and understand the industry in such a unique way and have a different perspective. And so like, yeah, I'd be curious, like, what would you like to eat if you ever came to Long Beach?
Oh gosh. Anything Californian, such as Californian burritos. When we were in Long Beach, actually, for IAFP that time, I feel like we had like American food, and I was like, I don't know what do Californians eat? And everyone was like, salads. And I was like, all right,
Salad.
Well, we were out on that
dock kind of thing.
that dock
Yeah.
area, the waterfront. And yeah, it was a great opportunity to bring a bunch of people together, but it was very California seafood,
Yeah.
a lot of avocado.
Yeah. Shock.
And it's crazy because the whole Southern California, especially the coastline, even you think, oh, there's one kind of theme. No, you go to the next town over and it's got a different taste or a different priority on produce or seafood or whatever. But the experience is one thing that in our lifetimes, you say things like, oh, World War II. No, the pandemic, in our lifetimes, people were really challenged in terms of what I'm willing to compromise on and what I'm not willing to compromise on. And no, this is important to me. The experience, the safety, the brand reputation, whatever it is, and to see it kind of continuously evolve because of new challenge. The Olympics coming up, another new
Huge one.
challenge,
Huge one.
especially when you start thinking
The World Cup.
in the
Oh,
World
World
Cup.
Cup.
Well, also, I think a Super Bowl is coming to LA pretty soon as well. And you start thinking
Wow.
about the traffic,
I literally said say the traffic. I was
yeah,
like,
the
oh, here we
traffic.
go.
the traffic patterns. I mean, we already see examples where, well, deliveries are happening at this time of the day because we're going to save money on gas. Okay, but if the restaurant's not open that time of day, then
Sitting
who are you
outside then
delivering the
anyway,
food to,
yeah.
right? And how are you dealing with temperature control and rodent and pest control? And there's all these issues that come up in terms of like chain of control
Yeah.
and ownership of these things and theft, product loss, right? And then, okay, well, that's an issue with me and the distribution company. Hold on, but they're distributing this farm stuff and their name is on the packaging. So now you've got multiple parties in addition to the customer that are being impacted by these so seriously external sporting or rural events that are going on, gas prices even.
Oh man, that one hurts. I don't have an electric car yet, so that one is it's
Yeah. You can't get away from it. Like, what else can you do?
Yeah.
Especially in California.
But yeah, it does sometimes it does lead to letting people think they should take shortcuts because of those high prices and extra time on the road. And those are the things that like we want to help prevent and avoid. And you're doing a great job of being proactive on the risks involved with these big events coming up. I mean, I think sometimes we don't, it's like very exciting that it's happening, but then all the logistical preparation is just like sometimes lost. And I'm super excited because the Olympics are very close. I pick out one event.
Oh,
Guess what it is?
Gymnastics.
Very random. No, it is men's handball.
oh, okay. I would never guess that.
Yeah, I wouldn't have either, but it's very close to me, and it was one of the tickets
Easy
I
to
could get.
understand. You know, you get the rules.
I think it's gonna be fun, like a little bit of like dodgeball kind of throwing kind of stuff,
There's like
right?
18 events in Long Beach, but they also have the Grand Prix
Oh
in
yeah, that was like
the
a couple
F1
weeks ago.
racing,
Yeah.
where they'll close down a whole area and have a racetrack. So there's a lot of disruption that goes on there. But I think that with the disruption, though, it becomes difficult to differentiate between risk and hazard, right?
Interesting.
Right. I saw a very good analogy, right? It's a hazard if there's a shark in the water. It's a risk if you're in the water with the shark.
I take a lot of risks, Glenn.
Oh,
I surf. That's.
there you go.
You're always down at Huntington Beach, right?
Oh yeah, my friends actually they were running the Jack Surf Pro, and this is like the first year I think ever that there was a shark sighting, and they had to close it for a day. Yeah, but yeah, I guess I take a lot of risk every day, which that's odd now that I see that analogy.
I feel like that's like an interesting example as well because like anyone, like I obviously don't surf, but if I went to California and was surfing, sharks come to mind, right? Like anyone like thinks of a beach, they'd be like, oh, what if there's a shark here? It's very front of mind, and there's very few shark incidents in the world ever. Food safety incidents are prevalent all the time. And how often does someone go into a restaurant and think, oh, what if there's a food safety risk here? The traditional consumer typically doesn't. Obviously, anyone in our industry, you know, we think about it more, but like, why do you think that is?
Wasn't it crazy though that there is a one shark sighting and you'll shut down the entire event?
Yeah.
But in the food context, not too many years ago, I went to a fast food restaurant and their sewage was backing up and they had cardboard
Oh, no,
over where
no,
the
no,
people who
no.
were taking the orders between them and the food area. And it's like, no, 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 no. Why won't you shut that down long enough for the plumbing guy to fix the issue?
Yeah.
You know? And then you'll hear things like, but our job is to continue this and do this and do this at the expense of this. Like, okay, hold on. What's that phrase? Fast, friendly, and accurate.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say that food safety is probably part of the, if not
All of
accurate,
them.
definitely all of them.
Yeah.
You know, if you're ignoring the risks and the hazards to do business as usual, then you're no longer really doing business as usual.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And I've seen that more often than I would have liked to. I walk into restaurants doing audits or just being aware of like certain situations like that. And it's like, what do you think it is? Do you think it's that the people weren't willing to do it? They didn't want to lose sales. They were told to keep operating. I mean, I'm sure it's a combo of all three or
I come down to one of two reasons. That person either doesn't know or they don't care. It really is not too many variations of that.
But sometimes I feel if they don't care, it's because they actually don't know.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like,
It's like,
yeah, yeah.
it's
Because
it's
how could you not care that, like, if you knew the risk of like sewage in a restaurant and how sick and like that it could kill people, if you still don't care, then maybe that's a
But we live in
deeper
a
issue.
world where, okay, but look, my regional manager, my district supervisor is not seeing the sewage problem. Okay, but someone standing at your counter with their cell phone is now telling the entire world,
Yeah.
you've got this on social media, and now the corporate headquarters is going to find out. So, you know, well, hold on, maybe your immediate, right now, in front of you, user experience is just as important as what people in your corporate office in another state's going to find out.
do you think that the evolution of technology and social media has like heightened the awareness of food safety across the board? Therefore, brands now are choosing to be more proactive against it because
Absolutely.
the
I feel like it's
consumer
like
is,
a
right?
reactive, proactive, you know, they feel like they have to now because they're like, this could trend, although it's not the right, you know, like basis for it or mentality to have. Better for everyone that they are doing it or being more, you know, reactive or on the ball when there is an issue because of that fear of like, this could go viral easily. Any random person that doesn't even have any followers can put up something and it can just go crazy overnight.
Well, as the token old person at the table, I fear that there's too many companies where the leadership is still stuck in the like 1980s in terms of consumer awareness and not thinking about social media. There was a day where the only three questions that a consumer would ask is it the taste I want? Will it fill my belly? And can I afford it? Now we're asking about, is it gluten free? Is it local? Is it,
High protein. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly. Is it ultra processed? Is it this? Is it that? Is it safe? Is it part of that recall? Is it tied to, that location? Is there any, there's so many more questions that the average, not just specialized, but the average consumer is asking. And I think that sometimes corporate leadership doesn't think about the idea that consumers are sharing their experiences, good and bad, online. Like, look, this happened to me. Use this as a caution tale, and that's how people are finding out about things today.
Yep.
So I think that it's kind of like, it only used to be in the past, like a long time ago, it was like, yellow journalism, investigative journalists. And if you read that newspaper kind of thing today, I think we're bombarded with opportunities to find out about failures and about risks and hazards. But we still have problems like, for instance, there's a lot of concern over recalls, recall information being stuck behind a paywall, or, someone not being very proactive about information. But people are asking because, again, even though people want to have these great food experiences, not just in California.
New York too.
Yeah, down.
Oh, definitely. I think people want to take back some of the ownership of the experience that we've given up over the generations, right? We're not eating the farm food. We're not eating the food from our county. We're eating food that comes from so far away. We don't even know how it's processed. I think that asking these questions is a way of consumers saying, hold on, we want to have a little bit more input on them.
Yeah. Take the control. Yeah.
But then I find it interesting because you have people that are entering the food industry, but they're also consumers.
Yeah.
What have you found in terms of people that it's like they should get it, but somehow they're not getting it, in terms of you need to be doing this differently, or you need to be using this technology or this mindset?
Yeah, it's a challenge. I think with right now the world that we're in, costs are a big concern. And if you're new to the industry and maybe don't have the understanding of what to manage your P&L, it can be challenging. And then that's where I think people start to take shortcuts and they don't want to make the investment. But it's always been pay me now, pay me later. And in my time working in the industry and doing food safety, I've never seen anything work when it was pay me later.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I would really encourage all the restaurants to try to be proactive and take the opportunity to really think through how can we set up our operations, make them efficient and easy for our team to execute, but also hold them accountable to do the right thing. Because I think that often we set these standards and we have these beautiful SOPs, but yet we're not actually holding people accountable to execute.
Yeah.
And it's not always a slap on the wrist or anything, I think that there's a lot of just opportunity for like kind coaching.
Yeah.
And coaching goes a long way. And with the new generation that's coming in, I think it's awesome. They're also, a lot are new to the industry and they want to learn. And so you have the opportunity to teach a fresh mind the right way, right when they come to
From
work
day
for
one.
you.
Yeah.
And then that's the standard, And I think that kind of, when I was a waitress, I'm not going to lie, I wasn't the most food safe. I didn't get my serve safe till I think it was 2009. It was actually for it was a final for one of my classes for nutritional science. So that was awesome. And then I was like, oh, I learned a lot in that class on what I should be doing. And then I worked for SteriTech, and I had an amazing trainer, and she was very tough. But she stuck to the rules. And I think from there, it was just embedded in me that like, these are the standards and this is what you follow. And I think when you start to like get that ingrained early on, it just carries with you. And I would hope that everybody wants to make those investments. It might be slow at a time. So maybe you're doing, I don't know, the paper logs and then you move to digital and then you find something else that you want to incorporate. And it's just kind of that step by step process. Technology is a beautiful thing, but you have to want it, I think, first. And then it also has to be the right technology for your business.
Agree.
Well, I think perhaps too many times leaders struggle and get caught up in the reason and the rationale and the return on investment. And it's like, why does there have to be that? Why can't it be that your passion is to do this, your mission is to do this, your prioritization is that, of course, to achieve this goal, you would want to invest in this technology. And we've had conversations with people that look at it in terms of not only how technology can impact the speed of information, but also expand who's able to see this information and now take action before it's too late.
Oh, agreed. Proactive versus reactive.
100%.
I mean, that's,
Absolutely.
intentional leadership is right there. And if you don't have the tools to do it, it's kind of like being a superhero and showing up and going, dang, I wish I brought this.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't help.
Yeah. That's
I
a
won't do anything then. Yeah.
Yeah.
no, it's
What are you going to do, right?
it definitely has to be easy for them to do the right thing. And
That's a big part of it. Yeah. For operators, it's sometimes we see people hire in a business management, probably the same for you. Someone higher up brings you in, and is like, right, that's that band-aid now. Same with our system. Like they bring it in and like, right, perfect, that's done. It can't just be, it needs to be at all levels. Everyone needs to understand. And the person that is at the lowest of your business chain, per se, like you were a waitress, started as a waitress, so did I, they need to be able to understand how to do it. And it needs to be easier than what they're doing now. Because otherwise, I'm not going to do it. Like I'm 16. Like I just need my money in at the end of the week. Like thinking through to the operator from a business decision making perspective is like the fundamental to anything in food safety. I think whether it's like bringing in systems or just even coaching, training, you need to have their mindset. And I do think the most successful people, like we were talking earlier, are the ones that started at that lower level because they understand the need and even how to communicate with people.
yeah, and I in my time in this industry, and you guys tell me what your thoughts are. I've typically seen those who invest in food safety and that take it seriously, and I hate to say perform well, but there is a way that we evaluate it to some extent. They typically do everything else pretty well too.
Yeah.
There's a culture that's just like embedded in the system that these are like the right standards and this is what you're held to do. And so they just do it, like kind of naturally evolves and everything is good. And then sales are good. And then the guests are happy. And then they come back again. And then you have
Yeah.
like more sales. And then you're just becoming this very, well liked, loved, and profitable business. And I've always admired those franchisees or operators that I've met that really engage with their team and then really just value what they're doing because it makes my job easier. It also makes it very enjoyable. And it makes it like, I'm happy to know that there's people out there that are just they're all in and doing it the right way. And I'm a big believer in, if when you do good, good comes back to you. And I think food safety is one of the like things that it's a moral obligation. It's not something that you can just say, maybe I feel like doing it today or maybe I don't. And that's, I think the biggest thing is just, making sure people understand that.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you look at the idea of here's so and so over here who knows everything about food safety for a restaurant, let's say, and you got the bartender over there who's literally grabbing the glass and scooping the ice with the glass. And, why aren't these two people talking to each other? There needs to be this kind of we're all in this together in terms of, it's not, well, that's them, this is us. You're in the same company, you're in the same location. Why aren't you guys communicating better? And especially when you think about the fact that it's not just we're all in this together as employees in a location, we're all in this together in terms of all those employees are still consumers.
Yeah.
Ready? And, there's companies that I've asked, why do you prioritize food safety? And a person will say, "Well, I feel really, embarrassed to say this, but, I feed this to my family and I don't want them to get sick by it." I'm like, why is that selfish? That should be
Yeah. Yeah.
the bare minimum. Exactly. Everyone should act that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wouldn't bring your family in to eat at your restaurant, then should you be serving guests?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It's a very easy question. I think also, yeah, empowering the team too, to let them coach and train almost one another in a way that you're saying you're on the same team, right? So if somebody's doing the wrong thing, maybe just saying like, hey, like we should do it this way, I'm all about the teamwork.
Yeah. I think humor is important. And I'm glad you joined our team here for this episode.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here. This is awesome. And I love that I get to see you in Chicago.
Yeah. It's
Maybe
awesome.
we'll have to hang out actually in Long Beach.
Maybe. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing what your next adventures are, either on a surfboard or not.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.